you were talking about connecting people from remote areas to the urban areas and different areas. Recently, elections happened in Pakistan, and we did something similar project by the Bytes for All. The projects were called #PakVotes. The basic idea was to pick up the people from remote areas, from Pakistan, from Fata, KP, integration, South Punjab, which are not even in mainstream media. The news about those areas never came in mainstream media. So we pick up from some 50 to 60 local journalists, local people, local youngsters, local students from there, and all of them to Islamabad and teach them how to use these smartphones. And how to use social media, Twitter, Facebook, and personal messaging. And in case of if there is no mobile coverage, how to communicate the message to different mediums using some other sources, landline numbers, or something like that. So when the elections happened, on election day, they started voting from their areas. There was some violence in some areas in village. There was some violence in Pakistan, some Pakistan's remote area, and there was very good news about the KP, which is commonly known as for extremism, or you can say that men are against women, or they are vodka. The local journalists from there posted the pictures of women with huge long lines coming out for vote. That was very different aspect as compared to as we see in the mainstream media. But that was something very relevant in the life. And we are practicing again in the by-elections, did the same practice, and it was quite successful. And even on some news from the Election Commission of Pakistan noticed also some elections in some area there was some violation of code of conduct, or the women who were there from voting in some areas, and Election Commission of Pakistan took notice of those in those areas because of social media and our campaign. So moving forward,
so far we have been listening to stories, and all of you must be feeling very, very positive and very kind of inspired also. So let's go back on ground and see when someone gives you this task of doing some kind of social media activity, probably a campaign or probably starting off with a business on social media. Let's look at some of the basics. So I've been using a framework. It's called LPEM, and I'll just share some of it with you. And after that, we will have a discussion around it. So it will primarily around the engagement factor in social media. Somebody spoke about messaging, effective messaging. So we can cover all that here. We can have a quick small presentation. Social media. So, L is the listening, planning, engagement, and measurement. This is what we ideally do for any social media activity. Could be a Facebook page, or could be a Twitter handle. Whatever project it is, we use this framework to actually not just do stuff, but also even measure how it actually went out. So, starting off with listening. So, listening is more about research. Researching on probably your influencers in your segment. Recently, I worked with an initiative which helps which works on cancer. So they are trying to see how they can change the existing conversation around cancer. So cancer, as all of you know, has a lot of taboo around it. So how can people don't even talk about cancer face to face in person, but expecting them to talk on social media was a huge challenge. So we use this framework to actually tackle that. So we listen to conversations about. So this is basically for the audience who has come for the business part here. So it combines both. It works anywhere. This is just social media, business or social voice. So the key thing here is to identify what are your common interests. Your people who are talking your language. For example, when it came to cancer, we wanted to see what all people are talking about cancer. Some people are talking about cancer cure. Some people are talking about cancer medicines. Some people are talking about alternative medicines to cancer. So we went about doing all this, and I'll probably share the presentation with all of you. I'm sure all of you must have shared your email details there. So I'll share the presentation with you. So this is what we basically do. Try to calculate the share of voice, what all people are really talking about your brand or your field of interest. Immediately after that, so we have some sample data with which we can start planning. So this is where your content comes into play. This is another very, very critical stage where you see what kind of content works and where. What all social media platforms do you actually want to go? Like, for example, if it's a product, Pinterest could be an interesting platform for you. If you're looking for brand building, Facebook could be a good option. If you're looking for lead generation, LinkedIn could be an interesting platform. So depending on the objective of your product, you could clearly decide what platform you could choose, evaluating the platform and tools. And also the other thing that you identify here is where do you get all this content from. So eventually, people talk about social media likes and dislikes and all these things. But what really drives social media is the content. So where is sourcing all this content? So there are two types of content. One is curated and one is created. Created is obviously what you write, what you design, all that. Whereas the curated one is where you get content from more reliable sources. Like could be from some other website, some other interesting news portals or resources, could be just other bloggers. So this is where you actually plan out this whole content and you also decide when you want to post all that content. Like it could be so some people say that they post on Facebook. Some people say that they post just thrice a day because that is more effective and they decide what time works for them. And this is the real key, the engagement part. So when you say engagement, what do you really mean by engagement? When you say that your page or your account is socially engaged, what do you mean by that?
People are responding.
Okay. All right. Yeah. What else?
People are coming back to your pages again and again because they find that you're putting relevant information.
Yeah.
Fact-based information. Engagement from your side also. You see when someone responds to your page or whatever, you also follow up, say something or like or whatever.
So basically, in other words, this is more of feedback. Where you then this is where you get a chance to see what do people really want. Are people really liking what you're posting? Because at times you may go wrong here. People may not really like what you post. So this is where this is the chance where you can actually take this feedback and you decide what all platforms are ideal for you. After a point of time, you will see that some of the platforms are just not working for you. So you can change your approach, change the strategy, and work around it. The last part is again the measurement. Calculating what is working for you. This is so when I say measurement, I'm not trying to say the number of likes. Like if you have 1,000 likes, you are superbly engaged. I'm not talking about that. One measure that is very close that should be adapted. The people talking about on Facebook, you must have seen that. So that's a number that you get beside the Facebook fans. Have you seen that? People talking about. So that gives you a good story of how people are interacting with your posts, how it's actually working out for you. So in some cases, the people talking about number is really, really high. So you should follow those pages and see what they are putting up. So people post different kinds of content. Some people post images. These images may contain quotes, and quotes, the picture quotes, they do really, really well on Facebook. Most picture quotes. And apart from this, so people have this option of posting videos, and Tumblr gives you this option of posting all GIFs, which Facebook doesn't really give the option right now. And also people previously Facebook used to have this option called poll or question, which they don't have right now. They removed it. And so that was an interesting way to see how people are engaging with you. Also, people run campaigns. Several campaigns are run on using Facebook and Twitter. I remember HP had done this campaign once they reached 1 lakh fans, where they created a community song which was completely sourced by the community. The community put together the song and they put it up. And I think before that it was Kurkure, Leher Kurkure, who had organized this competition for designers. They want them to design a Diwali box basically to give out to somebody, and they crowdsource all this. So you need to see what is working for you and what is not working for you, and decide accordingly with your strategy. But the parameters that ideally you should consider is, so this is basically the framework that you could go about, LPEM. So, any questions?
I would like to ask.
Yes.
Sometimes you just your Twitter feed, you see a very interesting hashtag. You say something, what's the link? So you don't know what's the link. You just tweet what's the link, ये क्या है, कोई funny comments. अब देखते हैं वो क्या चल रहा है. And people are just commenting whether it's beautiful, but there is no rain, what's the link, etc.
What's the link?
What's the link? LINK. क्या नाम है? 2 दिन ट्रेंड होता रहता है, and on third day it comes out that it was a teaser of some cellular company, and you see the ads on newspapers or TVs. But before 2 days, you was following these hashtag trends. So and more than that, there your friends or your followers or your people you're following, they were hired by the company to do this trend. How do you see such trends?
What is the reason for these kinds of?
No, how do you see these are, you can say that the people are selling their loyalties, like you are talking about what's the link.
Yes.
I will endorse that.
And so are being paid for this?
But I don't know.
Okay. So like you want to know whether all these hashtags are authentic or they are or not?
No, my question is like someone with my friend or some Twitter celebrity, 50,000 or 20,000 followers, is tweeting about something which is supposed to be a advertisement or something like that, but he is not showing that it's an ad.
Okay.
He says, is it desirable or
What's your view on it?
So basically it really depends, Like somebody has spoken about values.
Like if Amir Khan tweets about some airline company, people will assume that he's being paid by that company. But if I tweet about that airline, people will never assume that I am being paid by that company.
So
But in reality, I was being paid by that company.
okay.
That's the technique. Though if 20 or 50 people or 100 people are tweeting something, the normal people are tweeting about some brand or some taglines, it means they are already marketing without telling that they are marketing.
That's how they are trying to create that pull without telling that, look dude, I'm not selling but I'm selling.
Yeah. So any comments or questions from anyone?
So what are the concerns or what are issues you have in general with social media or anything that we could help you with? What you stand on?
Cyberbullying, because with kids we have seen a lot from a social media perspective. How do you tackle such a thing?
So-
Besides blocking.
Okay, Sandesh. So
can I add more? Like, you write about a fact or something about Nammo, that's what page until is ruined by people, like hate mongers or whatever you call it. Like they start abusing you. Whatever article. Don't read the article about Nammo. Go to the comment section. It will be awkward, really disgusting to see that. How do you people, like big institutions like Outlook magazine? How should they deal with it? Either have to censor this, or if they engage with them, they are coming to a lower grade.
So basically, we need to understand the fact that all the
This
content
happens only in India, not elsewhere.
So the way I see it, most of the content that comes on the web is at least on social media is user generated content. So it's very difficult to use. So they have the settings in such a way that not everyone can come and post on their wall.
Yes.
So, yes.
That should be.
That has to be there because you
Like
can't.
Outlook or any magazine, they should also be.
So it's very difficult.
Blogs could be, comments on blogs can be filtered, but
Yeah.
comments on Facebook can't be filtered.
So you can actually initially itself when you are the admin of the page, you can actually put that setting that people can post only with your approval. So you should go visit the Airtel Facebook page. I remember there was this time when whenever I visited the Airtel Facebook page, the Airtel India page, it was spammed. Like everyone talking about. So whenever they were having some issue with their signal or whatever, you used to post on the page. Dude, my phone is not working. I'm from so and so area. Help me. So many of them. So Facebook slowly, it's also becoming more about customer support. So that's one more thing. When it comes to cyberbullying, it's again very difficult to moderate. And the fact that a lot of people actually, a lot of kids, they are not, so to get onto Facebook, you have to be 13 years old. A lot of kids actually fake it. They fake their ages and they eventually join Facebook somehow. Because they have to be there. Have to be there. So that's what it is. It's very difficult to moderate, but as long as the companies have good policies and procedures around it, it will work out.
Companies use Facebook or other ways of social media for promotion of their business interests. Yeah? Which means it is not illegal, it is not immoral. Then an individual of our level wants to use it. How can we? So that's using for commercial purposes. Commercial means if I can, I hope I'm not getting into I'm a journalist, and the last stage of my career, I decided to also to publish my book. Because the publishers don't want to give me any money. They want me to invest also. And at the end they tell me, so we can't pay you. So I decided to publish my own book. Now my problem is, if I want to sell it, and I want to use social media, and there must be many such cases of different things. Maybe somebody has made some other device, a mousetrap or something. Then, how to use it?
So this again depends on the messaging here. It goes back to the messaging part. Because what do you like depends on the authenticity of the message. If you really what is the book you are writing, is it going to add value to the people? And if it is going to add value, what kind of value is it? How are they going to benefit from it? So if you are clear about that, I think social media or SMS or anything, you can promote your book.
I think it depends what type of book you are writing or something like that. 15 days ago, I think last month, Raza Rumi had a book launching here in Raza Rumi had a book launch in Delhi, and the book was Delhi by Heart, a travelogue by a Pakistani. So he's a well-known person, but whenever someone buys his book or posts some books on his or her wall, he picks up that pic and posts that pic on his own wall. That XYZ is reading my book in Colombo, or XYZ reading is my book in Swat or India or whatever. So people like it, engage, yaar padhna chahiye, isko dekhna chahiye. So how it engages, and it's now the bestseller book in India, I think, in recent.
Would you recommend any training course in this promotion? Yeah, if I am keen to understand. I would love to take a training course. I would love to pay for it. Would you recommend how to? Because you can see my age. I'm a grandfather. So I am interested, but I'm not as smart as the young people.
Get your child, Dr. Child.
Oh no, children, they don't teach me. I can share with you. Like my teacher, they were first. And hey, Papa, you can't learn even this much. I don't want to get into that.
So one of the problems actually with social media is the whole training or education part. So people have been given the tool, but there is no manual with it. So they use it in whatever way they want.
Is there any?
There are some companies who are offering. For example, Dell has it for its own employees, which is one of the well-known programs. Even Deloitte is doing something on this sort, and a lot of private companies who are into social media, they do all these trainings. So back in Hyderabad, I do a summer internship program on social media. So there's no one real program as such. So and you can also find some online, but it's up to, like, it's very difficult to measure them because they don't follow any university pattern or any UGC or anything. It's very, very independent. So, and with respect to say, it's very difficult to moderate that as well.
Sharing your age, since I'm of the same age, you're having the same problem with you. One of the other things I've learnt about this entire social media, learning about it is a bit like how in the old days we learned by apprenticeship. You see, where people learnt on the job, because this is really something you learn on the job.
Yes.
Because you can go for any amount of training. If you are not doing it every day and on a regular basis, you'll forget it
Exactly.
in next to no time.
And
So I realized that the only thing is to keep at it, and it's an apprenticeship. And actually, it's also like everything else. We need to demystify it. It's not that big a thing that cannot be cracked. If you can read and write, you can do it. So I think it's very, very simple. It's not at all what it's made out to seem. It's the reason why we find it difficult from our generations. We don't spend so much time on these media as the young people do. They're all of them. I always keep teasing my children and says, your children are going to be born with just two very big thumbs, and no other fingers, because you don't use any of your other fingers. It's the two thumbs that you'll use maximum. It's evolution. Be part of evolution. I'm sure we'll get very sophisticated thumbs for this. But I think it's just using it. It's just using it. There's no other answer. I can't think of, we looked at all this. You just use it, and then once you start using it, you find it's not such a big deal. Children just pretending that they know more than us. It's not all that much. It's something we can get around. I don't think it's any. I have a 92-year-old aunt who my children's friends all call, the hip granny. She is onto Facebook, Twitter, everything like that. Just totally. And because once I showed her how to use Facebook, not in Facebook, I showed her how to use chat. She got on chat some years back. Since then, she is gone, and she is now very popular on this thing. So it's a question of just. I have come to the conclusion, just a question of using it. Like our old apprenticeship of learn by doing. I don't think there are shortcuts to learning, and the only way all these youngsters have learned is because they do.
But there are training courses.
There are training courses.
There's an institute in Delhi for social marketing, not for teaching social media. For marketing, there's an institute in Delhi. I'm not sure where it is. I'll list it. You could Google it.
There are also a lot of free
You see, you'll come back to that.
Also, one more interesting point is basically your social media diet. Like, what are you consuming? What kind of news are you consuming with respect to social media? Say, Facebook is making. So, the thing about the Facebook page is, it keeps evolving over time. Like, आज रात में कुछ रहेगा, कल सुबह में suddenly it's a different interface altogether. You don't know where the like button is, and it's very difficult. And Facebook keeps doing it, and we hate it, but Facebook doesn't stop. It's actually good.
I just add one more thing, slightly linked to what you were saying, which doesn't come up in the conversation so far about technology for small businesses. Is this whole thing again that we've come across recently and we're trying to set up is this whole concept of crowdsourcing or crowdfunding. So a friend of mine published his book by selling the book even before he wrote it through crowdfunding. He posted that he wanted to write such and such a book, and he asked people to invest, I think £1 or $1 or something like that. And he got thousands of people who invested that one, and he said, I'll give you a book when I finish writing it, online book. So it doesn't cost anything. They get an online book, so there's no cost. He raised his entire, so he didn't have to go to an editor, ask him to pay. Thousands of people paid him, and they got a book in exchange, and he sold it even before he wrote it. So, and this idea of crowdsourcing and crowdfunding, I think, is another very exciting thing about how the technology can be used. So we're now using it to raise capital. So we're using it to raise capital. So it's not just to chat and talk about the party that I had, but it's also being so. This media, it's a tool that can be. It's really limitless. Every single person, man, woman, or child, black or white, tall or short, fat or thin, whatever description, can use this tool. It's just a tool. So use it for the way you want it. And that is the beauty of it. But that's also the weakness, because anybody can use it the way they want it. So the point you're using, it's like in all democracies, you give everybody the power to vote.
There's a quote by Bharat Shah. If you want to know a man, know his friends. I would rather rephrase it like, if you want to know a man, know his newsfeed.
Know his?
Newsfeed,
Yeah.
Facebook.
So on like about how can you use social media or Facebook. There was a very interesting happening in the back in 2011. I think India World Cup. India won the World Cup 2011.
Yes.
Yeah, and there was, I think there were 3 girls from Karachi, and they got the visa through social media, through Twitter especially. Sana Kazmi, get the girls to Mohali, and they got the visa in 4 days, and they traveled from Karachi to Islamabad, then Lahore, and through Wagah to Mohali, and all the arrangement, tickets, hotel booking was managed through social media, through Twitter especially, and that was a great story. Shahab, you want to add
Oh,
something?
I think we have missed a very important point that is here we mostly discussed on the promoting social causes or the social enterprises instead of businesses. So sometimes I found some of the causes or the pages, I mean, the impact that they are creating is not proportional to the number of likes on their pages in some cases. So while we're investing our effort and the resources, I think while it comes to for promoting any social causes or issues, I think we need to be careful in distributing our resources. I mean, to focus more on the creating on the impact. And I mean, if the impact is really very solid and really make changes, and we just put that up in a nice way or smart way, I think that's how it will create resonance with the people and make the idea spread around your community or around the country. But the concern is, of course, there are some causes that trying to give more focus on actually promoting the idea, not actually creating impact in the ground. So those who are you would like to start something, I think that need to be taken care of, and we should keep that in our concern.
So, any questions, suggestions?
But is it a fad more than anything else? The whole social media is a fad. Like many things in his life is a fad, I think.
So
If we are doing, I'm doing. If he is doing, I'm also tempted to do.
No, I think we should go back to the fact that social media, in fact, as a tool, is not a fad. The way it's being used is being used for many fad purposes. So many of the things that the way it's being used is it's used as a fad. But the tool is there. If Facebook, if nobody uses Facebook, the tool of Facebook is there. The tool of communicating through social media, it's here to stay, and it's not going to go away. It's here. It's a technology. It's not going to go away. When for computers first came, everybody said, "Oh, this is a fad." It's a technology. It's a tool. It's how we use it. So the way we use it will change. People may not talk about their samosas and other things, as we said, in a few years to come. That might die out. That even what you have said, that many people is to, it's actually to say I am who I am. I think there's a lot of the reason why people are on Facebook is it's a chance to be recognized, to articulate, express yourself. Even that might change after some time, and it is changing. Facebook is being used for much more than that. It's being used for much more. I mean, not just Facebook, social media. So I think we have to recognize that it's only a tool. It's a technology, and it's how we use it that it will determine. So the technology is here to stay. That's not going to go away. That's here.
Like recently, somebody spoke about confession pages.
Yeah.
So there was a time, I think this was like 2-3 months ago, it was all over Facebook, we had these confession pages, like everywhere. And that was a fad.
Like reality TV. Okay, televisions are here, but reality TV might be a fad. It might go off after some time. So like that's how we use the.
Someone wanted to make a comment.
Talking about television, actually, that's the thing I was going to mention. What I said about fad. It's up to us, actually. Like we are using TV these days. I think we have even on primetime news debates, our agendas are different. We may have more substantive agendas. The questions are very skewed, so we really can't get the right information. We don't discuss the real basic points. So it's up to us, actually, really, even Facebook or Twitter or whatever, the way we want to use it.
I have a question. I think we didn't talk about online advertising as a platform. I wanted to know, I've been reading a little bit about this. It's supposed to be in its nascent stage. Twitter and Facebook being used as publishers. and there are online advertising agencies that use, they got various softwares where they basically try to connect the advertisers. And advertisers could be anybody with a message, and they use these publishers, and there is monetization that's happening in the public. Can you talk a little bit about it, because I think there's a lot of relevance in
So-
using social media now.
So with respect to digital marketing,
Yeah.
so what is happening is previously people used to use newspapers. Newspapers were basically, they had content, and people were slowly like, because they had content, they were sold for the content, and gradually these businesses, they had this opportunity of putting up their promotions and their marketing there. Similarly, the same thing is happening online. In fact, if you see a lot of these websites, they are focusing on content exclusively, only because the content is where what people will look for. Eventually, during that, while they are reading this content, they'll have some banner coming up, some banner ad. So mostly the most popular among these is Google Ads. So Google has got this AdWords.
Seems to have the biggest market share.
Yeah. So Google has got this AdWords technology, which they so how it works is, like for example, I have a blog, all right. So people will come to my blog for its content, and I also have this option of tying up with Google for these ads. So people will when people come to read my posts, they'll see related ads. Also, if you observe your search, like nowadays, a lot of people sign into Google. Suppose you're using what all browsers do you guys use? How many use Chrome? So many. So most of us actually log into Google Chrome, and Google knows what we are searching for, and Google actually, that's how it places these ads, depending on the search. For example, suppose you're searching for, say, give me some example. What do you normally search for? Shoes. Okay. So the moment you click, say, shoes in Delhi, immediately you will get on the Google page. Is it? I wish you could show it actually. Do you have access to internet here?
There is
Sure.
one more thing very similar. The moment I write to somebody an email saying that in Barcelona my exhibition was held, immediately I see that Barcelona hotels.
Yeah. So there is.
Google.
Yeah, tickets, what you call cheap tickets, airfare to Delhi, Barcelona. They immediately, it takes hardly, I have not yet finished my, I'm waiting for the response. And before that, it is.
You should send encrypted email. Encrypted email.
No, I'm not afraid. I'm only telling you that.
So actually, Google. This is how Google makes money. So there is an option where you can opt out, not receiving this sort of advertisement. So you probably go to your Gmail and there is a setting options and apps, and where you can opt out from getting this. If you don't opt out, in general, I mean, they try to track your interest, the people you communicate with, and then the keywords that you use in your emails.
Yeah,
This is how.
They catch your keywords.
Yeah, exactly. And
Sometimes I don't mind.
shortly catch points. And
options anywhere to opt out of Google. Right? Some
I
extensions are there.
personally opted out for that. I mean,
Even
initially I
extensions are
used to
there,
give. Yeah.
Extensions are there, but I don't think options.
But the extensions are the most effective ones. Like there's one called AdBlock. The moment you have that,
So I used to receive those ads, and somehow I then figured out and picked it out, and then I no longer receiving
My-
it too. Yeah, you want to?
No, I just want to say that my more childish moments, when because I always feel very, and like I said, entrapped. These fellows all know, some computer somewhere knows. Like you said, as soon as I typed it, even before the person I sent the mail to, some computer there knows what I said, can pick out the keywords. So in my more childish moments, when I want to get square, I want to get even with these guys, this corporate thing. I have my work email account and my personal email account. So I sent one email from that. I'm thinking of buying a house in Bangalore, and all these ads come up about houses, and I said, "There, I got you. I fooled you." It's a very childish reaction to me. I got even with them. I fooled you. I actually don't want to buy a book. So sometimes it helps just to get that feeling that you're not, so vulnerable and so helpless.
When you do that, you're not interacting with a human interface.
I know fully that, but it's just this feeling that the fact that somebody is scoring on you all the time helps to. Then I said my more childish moments.
No, it's you who is having fun, not the computer.
Exactly.
That's what you wanted.
That's all I wanted. My more childish
Also, going to
moments.
Facebook, whatever you like on Facebook. For example, you like Shah Rukh Khan on Facebook. Suppose any new movie of his comes, you will really see those ads. So Facebook advertising is even more targeted than Google, because here you are clearly telling Facebook what you like, whether you like Shah Rukh Khan or whether you like Bollywood and all these things. So immediately, when I'm a promoter of Shah Rukh Khan's film, I will straight away target you because you are my target audience. Through Facebook. Google it's difficult, but on Facebook it's more targeted.
Facebook has this option, like when you advertise, it asks like how many persons how many people do you want to target and whom do you want to target. Suppose your company is based in Delhi University, you could select that just Delhi University students between ages like 19 to 25, that's enough. And those talking about targeting advertisement, it's more effective.
But the point here is that these are all things that are here to stay. It's up to us how much we are going to be influenced by this. And I think for the next generation, for your generation, you have to realize that these are the new evangelists. These are the people who are going to convert you. These are the people who are going to make you believe in a new religion. So it's up to you whether you accept that or don't. So just as you be conscious about somebody standing on the street trying to convert you into another religion, this is what you're doing through a computer, trying to convert you into consumerism, to buy things, to get these things and all that. So it's really up to you to exercise your individuality, your maturity, your thinking, your judgment, and not to be influenced by it. I think it's fully possible, right? I don't think we should be so helpless and say, oh my God, they are getting it. Okay, read about it, have a laugh about it, and tell them they're wasting their money on me, advertising on me, I'm not going to do it. So just do that, just take a thing and resist. You see, and this is the most important thing. If I want to give a message today to young people, the message is only this: resist.
But it doesn't happen, it's very difficult.
No, I think
come across advertisement, normally you will end up getting diverted somewhere.
So
let's wait for.
we are running out of time. Just last comments first. By
I just want to add to that point which Stan said. So basically nothing has much changed with respect to, we are just, so marketers are still behind us, only thing this time on a new platform, that is Facebook and even Twitter. So if you, when Google started out, Google's tagline was, don't be evil. So just to put things into perspective, I'm done.
So, last comments.
Okay, I started with the world is flat is of course very debatable, may agree and disagree, but to conclude, I personally believe interacting with the people and working with the grassroots people, social media platform actually given us an immense power, and sometimes to some of the people which really doesn't have voice on many of the national issues now, it's been useful for them to actually raise their voice. So just give you a last example. So in politics, of course, there are many parties. So in Bangladesh, what happens, most of the media seems to be occupied by a certain political group. So other group seems to be ostracized. So what they came up with, without having a voice in the mainstream medias, they came up with these Facebook pages. And they are solely their spokesperson, and sometimes a lot of propaganda, misleading news as well. So the idea is like when you don't have your voice in the mainstream, you figured out some way, and now they have like more than 0.4 million, one of the largest Facebook page in terms of political issues, and this is how they are getting comments from very grassroots level and putting up through everything through their Facebook page. So at the end of the day, I think it depends on the motives and depends on us how we will be using this platform. But I personally believe it's been an immense power to leverage on and doing positive things for the society.
Just last comments.
Just continuing from where he said, the only comment I want to make, I've spoken a bit at length today, but I just want to reiterate something that I've been saying all along, is that we should recognize that this is a technology and this is a tool. And what this technology and this tool can't do and what we can do is, the technology cannot be critical and the technology cannot think. We can think and we can be critical. And therefore my only request here, especially when you're talking about businesses, and this session was talking about how small businesses can use technology to stay competitive. And I was talking about businesses within a particular context of businesses who are trying to make the world flat. We're not talking about businesses that are trying to make the world even more pyramidal. We're talking about businesses that are trying to make the world flat. They now are able to access people from all over the world who also want to make the world flat. And for those of you who are using the technology, also use your critical faculties. Don't be swayed by the glitz and the glamour of an advertisement. Look at the value systems behind it. And what this technology provides is it's possible for people who are working for change to be able to communicate with people who are not so closely or not located so close to poor people, or far away. So it's possible, and we need to use this as a movement, and not as a movement just for protest, but as a movement to change the way we do things. Because today, most young people buy more stuff on the internet than they do from a shop. Now, I can't reach my tea to the shops in Delhi. It's phenomenally expensive, but I can put it on the internet. And you can buy it from us. So it's possible now for you to buy things directly from producers, directly from manufacturers, and you can check it out and see is it actually going there. And so we have a whole new way of doing business, not just for the producers, but even for you as consumers. There's a whole new way of you can do business. Be selective, choose, and let it be values driven. Let's bring about social change. We have the power to do it, and we should do it. And unless middle class people join hands with poor people, we are not going to be able to bring about social change. The rich are only going to get richer, and the poor are only going to get poorer. The only way is if the middle class takes sides, and the middle class stop being the middle class. No more sitting on the fence and say, I want to be upper class and aim for that. Stay on the middle class and I'm going to join hands with the poor. We'll change the world. We can change the world because we have the tools to do it. And this tool is more powerful than Obama's drone missiles or atom bombs or nuclear technology. It's a far more powerful this thing. Sorry? Or even the NSA. Even the NSA.
So I think.
Thank you.
I think.
One line.
Sure.
The achievement of today of this social media is that it has brought Bangladesh, Pakistan, India on one board, and aged and youth on one board.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
I think I'm speechless here. Thanks to Stan to explain all the aspects of the social media and marketing and marketing. So, Stan, thank you.
Thank you.
India.